Hello, boys and girls. What's going on? So, I recently saw a post on Facebook that said that um, Canada Goose is getting rid of their fur once and for all. And I wanted to talk about the single issue campaigns. And single issue campaign is basically something that addresses one issue and not the whole entire problem that we're facing, which is property status of animals and the fact that we see them as food. And and the thing is, while it's good that these organizations are stopping, some of these organizations are putting an end to animal testing or using certain animal ingredients in their food or things like that. They're not. It's good. I mean, it's excellent that because the whole thing is that we want to reduce the amount of animals that are killed around the world. That's one thing. That's a small thing. We want to reduce the number of animals killed, and it actually reduces the animals number of animals killed, which is great. But this is not what vegans really want. Vegans really want the total abolition of animal use and animal property status. That's what we want. And until we actually start to address this, nothing will actually even get better. Now, things are getting better slowly, slowly, but that's only because of pressure. Okay? But who knows what other abhorrent practices that these people have, or these companies have, or still partaking in. So, for example, let's say Oreo cookies may be vegan in a sense of maybe all the ingredients may be vegan, but let's really think about that for a moment. Maybe the sugar, is that vegan? Is the actual sugar vegan? Is the chocolate, the cacao that they're using in these products, is it fair trade, or do they still use and employ slave child labor? Is the that's the thing. So the whole idea is, even though they're reducing suffering, that's the whole problem with the society, is we're reducing suffering, we're reducing the amount of animals killed, but that does not mean that we are getting rid of animal use and animal exploitation completely. So the whole idea is to educate people on not to use animals, period. Because they still might use feathers, or they still might, test on animals, or they still might, use certain ingredients on, animal ingredients, or they still might somewhat test on animals in other ways. Or, yeah, I mean, there's a fine line, and what animal rights activists are doing is is kind of like bargaining with these organizations. And though, of course, still this is still somewhat a good thing because less animals are being killed, it doesn't address the root of the problem, which is two things, which is the use of non-human animals, that the use of non-human animals should be abolished. So no more use of animals, period. And secondly, the understanding that animals are not property. So the property status of animals has to be addressed with these corporations. But the problem is they're not being addressed because a lot of animal rights activists and these big organizations, they don't focus on that because they know that a lot of their donors and a lot of the corporations will not agree to that because their model is basically using animals, using animal ingredients, using things that exploit animals still, that still use animals. And so what we need to do is we need to get away from these organizations, these big organizations. We need to go to the grassroots model, to individually work. Even these small grassroots organizations, a lot of them are feeding these corporations as well. So what we ultimately need to do is we need to just go there ourselves individually and talk to these people. So these grassroots organizations like Voiceless for the Anonymous, or Anonymous for the Voiceless, and Cube of Truth that they do, these events, these are the events that we should be focusing on. Events like this, events like, the SAVE movement, and organizations and events like Bearing Witness and things like that. So that's what we should be focusing on. We should be focusing on talking individually to people, as many people as we can, talking to groups of people, setting up different events and having booths, promoting veganism. So that's what we should be doing, is promoting veganism and nothing less than that. Telling a company to go for free doesn't really address the root of the problem. The root of the problem, like I mentioned, is the property status of animals and the use of animals. So we need to abolish those two things. Thank you for joining me. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and to my email newsletter. And share it around with all your friends and family. And I'll see you soon. Take care, everybody.